Hey lovelies, welcome back to another tutorial. So we're going to be making a baby girl dress today, and I have my paper here. I have my shoulder, chest and waistline marked out, and I'm just going to divide my shoulder into two, mark on the shoulder line and the chest line, and I'll roll it into a straight line with my ruler. And I'm going to be using neck width of 2.75 inches and neck depth of 2.5 inches. So I went on to slope my shoulder. I measured my neck width of 2.75, then my neck depth of 2.5 as well for the front and 1.5 for the back. Okay, so I'm going to be using this paper for both the front and the back, and that is the reason why I'm drafting both the front neck line and the back neckline. In fact, all the front measurement and back measurement, I am drafting everything on the paper because I am making use of this paper for both the front and the back. Okay, so after sloping my shoulder, I divided my bust circumference by 4 and mark. Then divide what I have on my armhole line to 2 and mark the midpoint. Then went in by 0.25. Okay, remember we're making this for a baby girl, so I went in by 0.25, I mean, instead of 0.5. Okay, so I proceeded to connect, and that becomes our front armhole. Okay, so I went on to use the same measurement for my bust circumference divided by 4 for my waist as well. Okay, so after which I added 1 inch allowance, and that is allowance for the dart. Okay, for our dart. So I came down from the chest line by 0.5 inches. This is totally optional. If you want your dart to reach the chest line area, it's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so I went on to connect into a straight line, and on both line of this straight line I'm going to go in and out by 0.5 inches, and I am going to connect as shown. And this 0.5 inches that we came down both line has is what is going to make up for the 1 inch I added on the side. Okay, so I proceeded to connect all the lines. I initially connected the view measurement, after which I connected to the dart as well. So next I went on to measure my allowance of one on the side as well, allowance of 2 inches on the side. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to reconnect my back armhole. Remember I said this paper is both for the front and back, so I went on to reconnect, and this become our back armhole. So I'm going to pick up my scissors and I'm going to cut out. Okay, so note I'm going to be cutting out the back neckline first. Okay, the back neckline. All right, then I am also going to cut out the back armhole. Okay, so we are doing this so that when we cut out our back pattern on our main fabric, then we can now remove the front armhole and the front neckline. All right, so this is what you do when you are using one paper for both the front and the back. So next I'm going to place it on the main fabric I'm working with and cut out. I'm going to add 1.5 inch allowance for zipper. Okay, so here it is, and I went on to add 1.5 inches here. Okay, for zipper. So I'm going to set it aside, and the next thing I'm going to do is to give my front pattern a styling. Okay, so note that this styling is just an inspirational styling. It's not as if I saw the style anywhere. So on this part I came down by 2.5 inches, then on the down part I measured 1 inches, then on the chest line area, okay, I also proceeded to measure 1.5 inches here as well on the chest line area. So I'm going to connect all the lines. Okay, so note that what I'm connecting here is just an inspiration. It's just a style that I'm just trying, that is playing in my head. Okay, it's just a style that I'm just trying to, okay, process in my head. It's not as if I see it anywhere. So I want you to pay attention to how I'm connecting it, especially if you would love to make something similar. Okay, so I proceeded to connect this point in my ruler, and next I connected also towards the armhole area. Okay, so So I was not connecting, and at this point I was not really satisfied with what I have, because it was just looking like recess that armhole, and that is not exactly what is playing on my head. So I went on to reconnect. I connected this place with my straight ruler, then proceeded to curve this side. And at this point I was very satisfied with what I have here. Like, it's similar to what is playing in my head, like what I want to make. All right, so I'm just going to pick up my scissors and I'm going to cut it out. Okay, so after cutting it out, I'm going to be placing the center part and the side parts to cut on our main fabric. So note that the center part, this center part, I'm going to be using a black plain fabric for it. Then the side, I'm going to be working with the same vintage fabric. Okay, so I went on to cut out the front neckline, as you can see, and place the paper on this black fabric. Then the side, I remove my front armhole as well and place it on my vintage fabric and cut out. Added 0.5 inches all round, okay, for joining allowance. Okay, so I proceeded to unpin my paper from my fabric and I open it up, and this is what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to join this side to this side and join this other side to this left side as well. Okay, so note that what we have just cut is our half length, okay, for our beginners. Okay, so I proceeded to join, and after joining I attach my velvet bias to it. Okay, so if you would love to attach your velvet bias, do that after joining. Okay, I went on to also join with my lining piece and turn the side and the neck. I didn't turn the neckline anyway, and I sew my belt. So I did that for my back as well. I went on to turn the side of my lining, and I'll go ahead and join my shoulder and my belt. Okay, so I have this long strip here, and the length is about I think the length is, yes, is 35 inches. Yes, the length is 35 inches and the wideness is 9 inches. Okay, 9 inches wide, 35 inches long. Okay, so I'm going to use this for my sleeve. So I'll go ahead and hem the upper part and the down part and attach my elastic rope. That is what I just did, both the down and the up. I attach my elastic rope on both the down and the up, as you can see, and here our puff sleeve is formed. Okay, so I'm going to be attaching it on my sleeve, and it's going to be a cold shoulder sleeve. So I'm going to come down by 2 inches. Okay, I'm going to come down by 2 inches. I'm going to mark that point. Okay, so initially I wanted to come down by 3 inches, but I felt it was too long, so when I fixed it around 2 inches. Okay, remember we're making it for a baby girl. So I went on to mark on my sleeve exactly where I want to attach on the main fabric, and I'm just going to sew it, placing it on that, the starting of the sleeve, on that 2 inches I came down. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead to my machine and sew it. Okay, I'll sew on each side. All right, so after sewing, I'm going to bring it back for us to see. Okay, so for our beginners, if the length of the dress you are working with is, let's assume, is 30 inches and your half length is like 12 inches, you subtract 12 inches from 30 inches. Whatever remain is what you are going to use to cut out the skirt part that you can pleat or gather. Then you are going to measure the circumference of your waist. You can multiply the circumference of your waist by 4 or by 3, depending on how much fabric you have. So if your waist is maybe 24 inches, go ahead and multiply it by 3 and use it to cut the length of the skirt part and gather it or pleat it. Okay, that is what I did here. Okay, so I went on to attach the first sleeve, and I want to show you how I attach the second one. Sorry, it was not really showing very well, but I know you understand what I'm doing. Okay, so I went on to attach it, and here is what we have. Okay, so I also went on to close the side and attach the down parts. Okay, so you can see our cold shoulder sleeve here. Okay, so I went on to divide the neckline into 2 and notch the midpoint. So we are going to be cutting out our neckline, our stylish neckline. So I went on to measure it. Okay, and after measuring it, I have about 8 inches here. Okay, so I have a black fabric, and that is what we're going to be using. Okay, So this black fabric is what we're going to be using for our neckline, okay? And I went on to fold it into two, okay, and cut two, one for the main fabric and one for the lining piece, okay? So it's about 2 inches wide, okay? And I'm going to make a little curve around this upper part, okay? So I went up by just half of an inch and use my ruler to slant it this way, okay? It's just a little curve that I made around there, okay? So I'll just go ahead and pick my scissors and make that curve, okay? So the length of what I have here is the neckline measurement divided by 4. So remember we had 16 inches multiplied by 2, sorry. So 16 inches multiplied by 2 is about 32 inches. So that is the length here. And as I stated earlier, the wideness is about 2 inches. That includes joining allowance. So when we join with maybe half of an inch, we'll have 1.5 inches at the end, okay? So I went on to curve that part, and like I said, the other one is my lining piece. I went on to place it and turn the upper part and the down part, then went on to ruffle it, okay? I just went on to pleat on it and sew and pleat and sew, and this is what we have, okay? So I made sure that I pleated it around that 8 inches, which is 16 inches when you open it, and 8 inches of fold. So I'm going to fold it into two this way and mark on the midpoint, and I'm going to place it on the main dress, midpoint facing midpoint and front facing front, and I'm going to sew it, okay? So after sewing it, I'm going to bring it back for us to see. So please, if you want to have a detailed tutorial on how I made this cool shoulder sleeve, please drop a comment for me. Just let me know, and I'm going to give you a detailed tutorial on that, because I tried to make it very, very detailed, but time was not on my side, okay? So sorry about that it was not detailed. I can always do it for you in a detailed way. If you want, you can just let me know. So I went on to attach it, and this is what we have. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.